Now, you see this picture right here of the so-called A team, next gen, better with labor. You see this picture here. You say, okay, minus Douglas, for the most part, they will consider them a young squad, a young team. And so you would think that a young team, a young squad would have more innovative ideas, more visionary ideas, more transformational ideas for the country of St. Kitts, because after all, they're the youth, they're young. And so you would think that they would move St. Kitts leaps and bounds into the future. But what I'm here to say is that this party, this current party, something about them, they are totally devoid of creativity. They are totally devoid of any sort of innovative thinking. And so, as a country, we find ourselves just basically at a standstill, stagnant. There's no thrust towards anything beyond, anything greater. I think Dr. Simmons was in his 40s when he became Prime Minister of St. Kitts. I'm Dr. Joe, same thing, in his 40s. And when you look at the legacy of Dr. Simmons, we're going to look at that later on, you'll see, I know that they had a little 20 years, but you'll see that modern St. Kitts is built on the ideas that were put forward by the People's Action Movement of the day. Fast forward a bit. If you look at Team Unity, which Pam was a part of, the 7 years they were in office, I don't like this. People like to say 7 years, right? But people like to just conveniently leave out COVID and how devastating it was for our country. But that's a side part. If you look at the 7 years, their legacy that them and where they move St. Kitts to, you'll see that this party right now is just, they can't measure up. They're severely lacking. They cannot measure up. They've been weighed, they've been measured, and they've been found wanting. And it's very sad, because you expect that younger, fresher brains would have better ideas to move St. Kitts forward. But apparently, they don't. I looked at the budget for 2026, and my goodness, there's hardly any capital projects in this budget that you can say without a shadow of a doubt, well, I never thought about that. That's some innovative thinking. I like where they're going with this. Majority of things in here are either renovation, building new buildings, of course, normal upkeep, we understand that. But you can hardly find any kind of innovative projects, capital projects in this budget. If it ain't about building a new finding a new location for a ministry, it's about purchasing equipment, it's about maintaining, in a sense, maintaining what's here already, maintaining the status quo. And places where they could have pushed us ahead, they kind of dropped the ball. Now, one thing in particular, if you look at education, they have reconstruction of the Joshua Obadiah School, to me, long overdue. They also have, of course, Bastille High. And you could tell that these people ain't got they really don't think. Because here it is, they feel like they're scoring some kind of political points to say, we're going to build a new Bastille High, and we're going to put it right back where it was before. Right back where it was before. Now tell me, if you're given a chance to relocate a school out of that particular area, wouldn't you jump on that? Because anybody who could remember Victoria Road, 330, a mess when Bastille High gave out. When Bastille over, a mess. Congestion, and everybody got carried away, so it's going to be even worse. Congestion, from the top of Victoria Road all the way down to 4th Street, traffic backup. So you would think that, they say, okay, maybe that's not the best location right now. I ain't talking about no disease or whatever issue they had. I'm saying you get a chance to do something different. Two things. You get a chance to enhance the development of Bastille and also help to develop you have a chance to put the school in an area where you can help develop a community. Imagine you put the school over where Unity said, over Newton side. The whole area. You're going to see things pop up around the area, development, but no foresight, no vision. So let's continue. So yeah, this budget, so you cannot point to one decent project that I feel can push our country forward. Like I said, it's all about rehabilitating, refurbishing, rebuilding, buying this, buying that, everyday run-of-the-mill stuff. Now, if we are to compare their thought processes with other governments, modern times, this government in modern times, it's an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment. When you look at housing, the capital projects for housing, so they have the support to the National Housing and NHC, West Street Housing Project, East Street Housing Project. You have Housing Development Program, 5 million. So, question, no other places in St. Kitts want housing projects? So, no other places, just East, West and East Street? So we can have a Capistea housing development project. We can have a Sadlers. We can have a Sandy Point, a Green Valley. You know, because the thing is that land is finite. We ain't got the most land. We're small. So maybe we might need similar projects like what's over Baker's Corner, Gardens, somewhere else around the country, not just in town. And those ideas were from a previous government. Gardens, over there, previous government. So they set the blueprint already. But these people today talking about the 2,400 homes and nothing come of it. Look at what they have in the budget for housing. Just these two projects and a generic housing development program. Where they can say maybe a civil servant gated community or a mid to high income housing program or something. Nothing specific like that. Right? Repairs to the garden housing complex, of course, repairs. So you see that there's no thought, there's no vision, there's no forward looking in these people. You get no hope looking at this budget, no hope to say that we are moving in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, we need monies to maintain, to repair, etc., etc. But we also need to move forward. We need ideas and projects to push us forward. You already said CBI is in trouble. But nothing in this budget is saying that we have brilliant ideas that can help us combat the fall off from CBI. There's nothing to say, okay, yeah, I could see where the investment might come, right? I think they are relying a lot on private investment because, you know, Drew said they had a lot of investors lined up, ready to come. May say none yet, but I think they're relying a lot on private and those kind of things. Because perhaps internally, there are no, again, ideas from these people. So in thinking about the content of this video, I say, okay, let me download the budget estimates during Unity time. At least, I went 2018. I said random year 2018. I don't want it after COVID. I don't want it too early when some of the labor plans still spilling over. I said, okay, 2018 might be a good one. And the type of ideas that are in this budget estimate for 2018, that is what we're talking about. That is what can move a country forward. The kind of ideas you could see coming out of this thing. I'm not saying all of them came to fruition, but the mere fact that they were actually thought of means that there were people in power, people in places who can effect change with a different mindset, a forward-thinking mindset, a mindset that can drive us into modern times, into the future. This was 2018. So these were the people in place. Now, some of the stuff that we know came to fruition would have been Old Road Bay project. For years, they say Old Road can't do with the Old Road. For years, Old Road just knocking about people, stone falling out the hill. For years, they were able to construct the street, the road, rehabilitate the whole place, make it a bit safer, Old Road. New police stations sprang up, Sandy Point, some other places. The bus terminals, east and west bus terminals. Not to forget, the second cruise ship pier. All the talk, Marshall talk about tourism and Jota about tourism. Oh, 4 boats in today. 5 boats in today. My goodness. No mention, no thanks for the second cruise pier. Innovative thinking. Innovative thinking. At the hospital healthcare, I think they had the cancer wing. I think it was open under Team Unity. At the sports, as much as they want to try to make people believe that nothing was done for sports under Team Unity, the record speaks for itself. You go up to Kim Collins Pavilion Stadium, you see this big green building over. If you're in the pavilion, on your left, you see a big green building. That's the Athletes Call Center. In prior years, it used to be 10 cheers. 10 cheers. But now, athletes, you come, you line up, okay, you race next, come in the call center, at least we got you, sit down there, wait until they're ready to lead you out. So don't let nobody feel like nothing was done. The agriculture, a big lab, a big state-of-the-art lab up there in the agriculture yard, a veterinary lab, has the potential to make St. Kitts a premier destination for certain testing of animal tissues, etc., etc. Potential. But at least the idea is there. It was on paper and they brought it out. And so you see, thinking, forward thinking, right? Forward thinking right there. Not like Samuel who went to relaunch an old soils lab that the Taiwanese gave us years ago. Relaunch the thing, say new, the equipment done obsolete, everything. But these people are joking, man, relaunch an old lab. But I digress. When it comes to tourism, the man sort out Black Rock. Make sure Black Rock was a part of the tourism belt. Sort out Black Rock, look nice and cool over there. Host events, whatnot. I don't know what's going on with Black Rock now, but during Unity time, Black Rock was kicking. Friday man got back at the lime and thing, kicking. There's so much more things that I can discuss. Even outside of infrastructure development. We're talking about PAP. We're talking about SAFE for the college students can get their prepaid card, swipe, buy uniform, buy whatever. The roofing program. Hurricane destroyed some roofs. They were able to come through and repair the roof for some of the people. Remove that from food. They also made pre-K schooling, that's primary preschool, free. Not to mention the fact that even in education, they had a whole program about professionalizing the profession. And so in that program, teachers were able to complete their masters with assistance from the government. Government helped to pay for teachers to do their masters. Will you see any of that inside of any of these budgets that the Labour administration is pushing out? You can't see nothing like that to say you want to improve anything. Even in the 2018 budget, there was a plan for unemployment benefits. It didn't come to fruition, but at least you could see where they were thinking, where their mind was going to help people. So, infrastructure-wise, and even the intangible stuff, you could see that the unity government with PAM, they were thinking, they were ahead of the curve. They were thinking about different innovative ways that they can improve the lives of the people of St. Kitts and help the country to move forward, not maintaining the status quo. Think about it. For the 4 years Drew has been at the helm, what innovation have you really seen? What landmark have you seen them put in place to say that they are forward thinkers? You can't find none. You see persons, they like I said before, they're boasting off about tourism. Who put that in place? Some other boast off about Kim Collins. Yeah, Douglas was the one and them who did the Silver Jubilee. But Drew Labour, what did they do? in terms of sports. You can't see no development in sports. So you see where I'm coming from with this whole thing. Now let's look at the next legacy here. Legacies for from a prior generation. Now look at this. Look at this list of accomplishments. Everything you see here. This is the father of modern St. Kitts, Sir Kennedy A. Simmons. Father of independence. Somebody want to debate it, but can't be debated. There's only one prime minister. There's only one first prime minister, and it was him. So you can't debate. Okay, why is about Papa Bracha? Simmons led us to independence, and that's one of his ultimate accomplishments. But it didn't stop there. Of course, make sure St. Kitts and Nevis stayed together. Introduced the CBI program. So he was at the helm of St. Kitts when the CBI program came through. And you realize that up to today, the CBI is still one of the main income earners for the country, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, CBI. And that's the brainchild of someone that was being led by Dr. Kennedy Simmons. Right? I think Billy Herbert was the one who came up with the idea of CBI, and of course he's a founding member of the PAM party. Built Port Zante, that is still the backbone of our cruise industry. Port Zante, that was PAM. Innovative thinking, forward thinking. They even secured a loan to finish off Deepwater Port from Trinidad government when it was just left incomplete. So he was able to secure a loan to finish the Deepwater Port. Of course, like I said before, those who cut the ribbon take the credit. So even though they secured the funding for the RLB airport, let's give Douglas that, because that's how things are. Built Southeast Peninsula Road. The road to nowhere they called it, but it ended up being the road that drove our high-end tourism. Christophe Harbour over there for that, right? Friars Bay, all those things, drove that. CFBC, built CFBC. Established early childhood education program, one of the best in the Caribbean. People used to come in to try to emulate what we're doing in early childhood. You understand? What we're emulating, they were trying to emulate what we were doing in early childhood. Introduction of school meals. School meals was a watershed moment in St. Kitts because people were poor, and then everybody could afford lunch for the children. And so school meal was able to provide lunch for people who are bright, but the family happens to be poor, not to mention self. So school meals and the self program, that's PAM, that's thinking, that's something that move people forward. You know, you cannot even begin to imagine how much persons today are where they are because of the self program, paying for exam, textbooks, etc., and school meals program, because you cannot learn if you're hungry. So these are things that this administration was able to do that has driven St. Kitts upwards. These people today, like the one St. Kitts go backwards or stay in neutral. Of course, he built the bypass road. Yeah, Douglas did build F.T. Williams, so we can give him that. Right? So even though we acquired, even though PAM acquired land to try to start the whole thing, we'll still get Douglas because, yeah, right? And not to mention all the sporting facilities that the Prime Minister put down around St. Kitts, because his vision was that even if you get a diamond out the rough, that's still something to push, the youth them forward. So you really cannot say St. Kitts and Nevis without mentioning the People's Action Movement led by Dr. Kennedy Simmons. Legacy. So many things that they are still building on was under his stewardship. And so when you're comparing legacies and whatnot, you see that in 4 years' time, Drew and his Labour administration, they have done little to nothing to move St. Kitts forward. All of their little programs to try to, CBI, $1,000 CBI, the wallet boost, all those things, none of them moved anybody from one economic status to the next. None of them. They sound good, temporary, get a little bump, and after that, a lot of the social programs, slash, pap, whatever. So, keep that in mind. As I want to give you all food for thought. Think about it. Think about legacy. Think about when you look around St. Kitts, who has done so much to move St. Kitts forward, and how behind this current government is. How severely lacking this current government is. You don't feel the hope that you want to feel that we are on the right track. You feel as though we are spinning like tops in mud. We're not going anywhere. That 2026 budget did little to nothing to make anybody feel enthusiastic about the direction St. Kitts is going into. Just more debt, building more debt, and for what? You cannot see why we are going into it. You cannot see what the investments are going to produce in the future. You can't see them. Show me the investments and show me what you think we're going to come by. I mean, look here, banning plastic and all them kind of thing there. Look at the garbage pans them around the country. That was unity. As small as you think it might be, look at how we change the landscape of our country, the garbage pans. Change. So these are, even if you have like that whole idea was something, okay, you sit down, look and think, okay, garbage. But look, that's how we played out. I'm gonna leave it there for now. So I want to hear your thoughts. I know I didn't say anything about Douglas. Yeah, I mean, it would have been a longer video, but he has a legacy also. But I'll get into that at a later date. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you know when I drop a next video. All right. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.